All right, guys, we are back for the final part, I guess part 7 of my Unleashed you know, set review for sealed and sort of draft, but mainly sealed. My name's Emil. My UVS Riot username is Kitties, all caps. So if you ever play against me, feel free to say hi. Uh, yeah, we're gonna look at the legends, the battlefields, the six spells, and I hope this is helpful. First, we're gonna start with Jin. I guess the first thing we should talk about is my general philosophy on deck building and sealed. So, if you weren't aware, if you're watching this, you probably were aware, but if you weren't aware, I'm going to explain it anyways. Uh, if you start the game and you do not have either a legend or a chosen champion, you draw an extra card on your first turn. Uh, if you have neither, you still only draw one extra card, not one extra card for each. So you should always run at least one. The way I typically think about this is uh, if I'm going to run a legend, running a chosen champion is like having a fifth card in hand, anyways, at the start of the game. It thins your deck out. And you pretty much, it's like having a face up card that's in your hand. Um, so it's typically in a sealed scenario where value is important and card advantage is important. It's a good idea to run a chosen champ, and you skip the legend unless you feel like whatever legend you're running is worth basically giving up a card, an extra card draw. And a lot of times that's not the case. And I think Jin is probably an example of one of those kinds of legends where, unless you have an insane amount of 4 mana or more spell, like 4 energy or more spells, and you can really build a deck to lean into the legend aspect of it, um, I wouldn't play it. Pretty much. Think about it this way: for this to pay off, I mean, even if you did, it's like it's gonna take so long for this to pay off, and when it pays off, your payoff is that you channel 4 runes, and then you draw one, or you could just not run Jin, and yeah, okay, in the long run, you don't get that payoff of channel 4 runes, but you get to draw one at the start of your, of the game. And for that reason, I like Jin a lot. I like his design, but yeah, I mean, these. Hold on, I'm gonna change this real quick. So this is a bad card. Almost never play this. Play if heavy synergy, playable, must play. I'm gonna take one out. I'm gonna do this here, and Jin is gonna go and almost never play this. I hate to say it. However, Curtain Call uh, is, yeah, I mean, this card is really good and limited. You have all these options. Um, getting to like pay for to you know 5 and recycle 1 to do 3 of these things usually feels pretty good. Uh, so I'm gonna put Curtain Call, if I can find it. Uh, I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put it in playable. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in must play, but it's pretty good. Um, Rengar. Uh, I'm gonna put Rengar in. God, these are really hard because again, like keep in mind what I said before. It's like, is this worth losing a card? I think Rengar might be, um, because like you can make your two drop bigger. It's a lot of tempo, and if you have synergy, it's like pretty good. Uh, Thrill of the Hunt is busted. Um, yeah, I mean the reason Rengar Legend is playable to me is because like you can g- go for like a wide build and it's basically like buff on a stick, a legend, like so it's like turn one you play your 2 might unit, turn two you play your 4 might, now your 2 might unit is 3 might, you can go trade off with your opponent's uh turn one play if they just left it sitting there alone. It's a lot of pressure, and for that reason I think it's pretty good. You do have to consider the color combinations, like red orange doesn't seem like the greatest to me, but if you have the ambush synergy, it's pretty good. Unless they have the Vex, and then you just cry. Um, Pike, Pike is I think Pike is the definition of playable if you have synergy. Like if you have a bunch of those birds, like I said in one of my other earlier reviews in the purple one, if you've got like three of those birds and you got a Pike Legend, just play the birds and see what happens. It's messed up unless you get super screwed on draws and you just miss birds somehow over and over. And then I'm gonna say signature spell is must play because where is this? This is out of order. Where is this? Where is it? Where's Rachel? Um, dude, what? How? I'm too tired. I'm missing this. Dude, I actually feel so stupid. I also think the signature spell is a must play. There's just so few ways to just like straight up kill things in this format, and being able to do it multiple times is pretty insane. And there's no defies. There's very few counter spells. Um, there's really just very few ways to stop this from resolving in general. If you get to resolve it, 2, 3 times, usually it's gonna feel pretty good. So I think you play it. Then we have Vi. Um, you're never playing this. I don't think you're. I don't even know if you're playing this in constructed, but you're definitely not playing it in limited. You cannot consistently count on assigning 3 or more excess damage. The payoff isn't even that amazing. You get to ready a unit, and yeah, you. I think you always would rather draw a card. Uh, then you have Hextech Gauntlets. Her signature equipment. This is a 3 might, and it's equipped 3 and a recycle, but the cost is reduced by the might of the unit you choose. And you give +3. And when you conquer, if you sign 3 or more excess damage, draw 1. Uh, I think you pretty much always play this card if you're in these colors, but I wouldn't go into these colors for this card, if that makes sense. Um, but like, if you have a good deck in these colors, like this card is pretty strong. +3 might for 3, and then every now and then you're gonna get to draw a card off of it is pretty good. But yeah, the legend's bad. Lilia is another one where it's just like the definition of like, hey, if you have a lot of temporary stuff in your pool, you can play Lilia, and it's probably gonna feel pretty dang good. But if you don't have the synergy, this legend is pretty much useless, and you just want to draw a card at the start of the game. Her signature spell is kind of weird. Uh, you just there aren't that many things you want to counter like this, and this is an expensive counter. it stops them from playing more spells this turn, which sometimes is gonna screw them over, but they can still play like units. So I'm gonna put it in the playable, but part of me is like, it's like a play if necessary kind of card. Like, man, I really have nothing better to put in this 25th card slot, which does happen in sealed, especially if like you don't, if you're playing pre-rift and you end up opting out of your seeded pack. Sometimes you're just low on playables and you just gotta play this stuff. Um, Wuju Master Yi is a play of heavy synergy. Like if you have a lot of XP stuff and you are able to get to level 11, like yeah, this legend is very strong, but you need to get to level 11. Like your deck needs to be all in on the XP and then it's playable. Otherwise, just draw a card. Then you have Alpha Strike. Uh, this card is crazy. In limited, I think it's pretty strong and constructed too, in some ways, but it's definitely insane and limited because your opponent's not going to have defies, whatever else that just shuts it down. But you know, action speed, challenge kind of card, except instead of the units fighting each other, you just like straight up deal damage to them. So and then the bonus is that you get an XP, which you don't even really care about that much. You can, if you're not an XP deck, but you're in these colors, if you're in these colors, you're probably gonna be playing some XP, but like you care about the removal. This is like, again, like there's not that many good removal spells in this set, and this is one of them. This is one of those cards. So you're playing it if you're in those colors. Vex. So Vex is interesting. It's harder to guarantee holds in sealed than in constructed. You just don't have the like redundancy or consistency of deck building to be like, yeah, I can really hold. I think I've talked about this with some friends, but like in constructed, I undervalued this card because it's kind of like an asymmetrical Grove of the Godwill. Like you only get access to it, and you get it every game. So you don't have to worry about playing it first, second, and like your opponent getting to abuse it or something. Um, and that's really strong. However, in sealed, because you can't, unless you feel really confident in your ability to hold, and trigger this at least twice in like the first 3 turns, you probably would just not run a legend and draw an extra card at the start of the turn, because it's going to take at least 2 holds for this to I mean, not probably, it will take 2 holds for this to exceed just not running this at all. So again, it depends on what kind of style of deck you're running. um, but I could see it. I could definitely see it, because there is a world where you draw like 4 or 5 cards off this, and uh, maybe I'll put this in the playable. You don't need like heavy synergy. You just need a decent deck. And there's the only downside is your opponent might draw an extra card, and you turn 1 might take a little bit of time to get back. And you have the signature unit. There's just a 3 energy, 3 might. If you play me to a battlefield, I enter ready. And then for 1 and a recycle and a tap, you can stun an attacking unit. This card's just pretty good. I don't know if I'd put it in the must play category. Like, if you're in these colors, I don't see why you wouldn't play this card. It's just strong. Maybe I will put it in the must play for that reason alone. I mean, most of the signature spells kind of fall into that. Like you could probably put Curtain Call up here too. I feel like I'm doing my boy Jin dirty. Like, if you're playing red blue something, you're gonna play Curtain Call. It draws you a card, for Christ's sake. Then you have Ivern. So this is really interesting. And sealed. Like, if you have the tribal deck going, I think you can play this. make the brush, and then your bird, cat, dog, poro, and Ivern units have +1. And you replace their battlefield, which isn't that relevant. A lot of people are going to be running blank battlefields. Thing to remember is that there are a lot of like poros and dogs that your opponent, and birds, whatever, that your opponent might be running. So it could, work both ways, but typically it's going to work for you. But again, this is another one where, like, yeah, I mean, if you have the synergy for it, why not? But you better have good synergy. You can't just be playing that for fun. Um, Daisy is, good. Uh, it's a 9 mana recycle 2 for a readied 8 might. And a lot of times it's going to be like a 7 mana recycle 2. This last line is not going to happen most of the time in limited, but I would say it's kind of a must play unit. It's just huge, and again, there's not that many ways to like blow someone out with straight removalness. So they'll need to have the right cards in hand to deal with something this big, or the right board state. So I think you would almost always play this if you're in these colors. Then we have Diana. Um, this is tough. I think this is another synergy thing. If you have a lot of cards like action and reaction, like spells that you can take advantage of the add one with, this isn't bad. But I just, drawing a card is pretty impactful. Getting one card deeper. So again, to me, this kind of goes into like a, if you have a lot of synergy, um, sure, why not? But if you don't have a lot of synergy, uh, like a lot of synergy, don't play it. Like this is just not great. You'd rather draw a card. Um, then we have Moonfall. This card's another kind of must play. Um, it's charm, but gives enemy units -2, and its charm you can also use during combat. I mean, this card is nuts. This is like, yeah, I mean, read the card. You can go in for combat, then you can drag something in from base or another field, and then give everything -2 at action speed. And the card's amazing. You're always playing that. LeBlanc. I think this is a synergy card. I think because you need ways to make up for this the discard cost. Um, Making reflections is cool, but to have you need to have two things. You need to have cards that are worth making reflections of, and you need to have ways to replenish the discarded cards. So I think I said this when I was looking at the yellow blanc, but unless you're playing that as your chosen champ, and you're just like using it to kind of tease out like an unfair amount of card draw, uh, I don't really see how this LeBlanc unit is very good and better than drawing a card. So for that reason, she's oh that's the signature spell. She's going in the play of heavy synergy for me. Then we have her signature spell. Uh, Choose a unit, play a ready reflection unit token in your base, becomes a copy of that unit, give it temporary. This card is insane. Um, Specifically because you don't have to choose your own unit. Um, so yeah, I mean, you can get it to trade with anything. Uh, you can use it to do like a quick double conquer. Yeah, this card is great. Yeah, just remember that you can choose your enemy's units if you pull it. Uh, and yeah, you're usually not going to expect that. So, uh, They're not, they got their big unit out there, and you're just like, you know what, I'll play 3 recycle 2, and I'll just make a copy of it, and you can figure out how to deal with that. Good luck. I have Kha'Zix. Uh, so he has XP on the card, and then he has these XP payoffs, which is spend 1 XP to buff a unit, or spend 2 XP to move an exhausted friendly unit from battlefield to its base. And I'm gonna say this is gonna go into play if you have heavy synergy category, but really it's gonna be like play if you have heavy XP payoffs. And the main reason you're gonna be playing this is for the when you win a combat, gain 1 XP. You don't have to spend the XP if you don't want to. Just remember that. Like, it's gonna be tempting sometimes to just like be like, oh well, I have XP, spend it. But if you have payoff cards that benefit from being at like 6 or 11 XP, it's better to hold the XP, and this gives you a way to generate XP a little bit more consistently. That's to me the main bonus. And then you have its you know signature spell, Void Assault, 2 mana recycle an orange or purple, move a friendly unit, then move an enemy unit. Yeah, this card is very strong. Like you can like conquer one, and then you can play, like, let's say you're on 6 points. You go into the open field, you conquer it. Then you can play this. You can move your friendly unit onto the field they still hold, and then move their enemy unit back to their base and just win the game. This card's insane. Uh, if you This card will win you games and sealed for sure. Uh, Not to like, and that's just like an example of how you win with it. I mean, you can just get so much value out of it. Just kill stuff. It's so flexible. Uh, and then you have Poppy. And I think Poppy's actually, I'm gonna put her with Rengar. I think she's playable. Uh, I Which is hilarious. Uh, but like when I'm looking at all the legends, the ones without synergy that seem most playable, she's one of them because uh, it's kind of similar to Vex. If you feel confident that in the first 3 to 4, well, it's a lot harder than Vex. Okay, never mind. We're changing. We're changing. We're going to heavy synergy because generating 3 XP per turn is fairly difficult. And yeah, sure, you can get it from holding, but you're probably going to need to generate other ways. But I do think Poppy is good if you get the XP synergy. And I guess I'll rank these based off how good I think they are with if you get like decent synergy, not like the nuts so synergy, but like decent. I'm giving up. It's too much work. But anyways, um, yeah, this is the end. If you watched all, I guess, 7 videos on this, I appreciate it. I might do some more content between now and I guess Vendetta, Unlimited or Constructed. I don't know what, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll pop back up then. I don't know. I'll see how these do. But yeah, just a overview of uh you know every sig spell is a bomb except for the counter spell one because it's just kind of situational. There's not enough spells. The best legends to me are like Rengar and Vex, but I mean it's all synergy heavy, and I think the worst ones are Jin and Vi, simply because their payoffs you, they're way too hard to achieve a lot of times. As we can do a quick one last check on everything. I mean, keep in mind these aren't law, and if you watch the individual videos, I explain why I put things where I put them. But uh, if you're a yellow player, you should be happy because I hate on yellow, and somehow y'all ended up with like one of the better pools. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.